Good morning, or should I say good afternoon. This is my third live this week. I'm making a concerted effort to be on 5 days in a row this week. So here is my third live, and you can see the other two are still on my timeline, and I in fact might be uploading them up to YouTube as well for people. So today I want to talk about spiritual equity, burden and karma. Now what I mean by that is spiritual equity is karma, the law of cause and effect. Yeah, what you cause, there is always an effect from what you think, feel and do. So spiritual equity is the fancy term for karma. It's the term that is used in the courts of heaven, and what we mean by the courts of heaven is where the spiritual laws are upheld, as in the law of one, and the spiritual laws are adhered to. What's happened on this planet is that has not happened, and we have got it's almost become a prison planet and a quarantined planet full of lawbreakers, spiritual lawbreakers, right? Now, spiritual equity, which is karma, is something where something is done towards you, shall we say, in duality. Something is done towards you which harms you or hurts you in some way, and then the equity, the karma from that act is then incurred by the person delivering it. Now, what we've got to realise is that on this planet there are some very clever dark controllers, black magicians, also links to extraterrestrial races that are not of source light, that actually are intent on making sure that humanity is duped and tricked and manipulated through various ways. One of the ways that you can avoid karma and spiritual equity is by giving someone notice. You give someone notice that you're going to do something to them, and if they do not say no or do not consent, we call that tacit acceptance. They have accepted that that's going to happen to them because they've not said no, and they've not said I do not consent, and they've not said I do not contract. So therefore, by giving notice to them, like you would do in a contract, that you're going to leave a contract, you give notice, don't you, in like commercial law or contract law or property law. In divine law, if you give notice to someone that you're going to do something to them, like for example, you give notice to someone that you're going to kidnap their daughter in 2 weeks, right, for other purposes like trafficking, and you say it jokingly to them and they don't take you seriously, you've given them notice. It's as simple as that. It gets more complex and complicated when we start talking about bigger acts perpetrated against humanity, where we have got huge events that are going to happen and they give us notice that it's going to happen. How do they do that? Well, one of the examples is through the movies. So Hollywood. So they'll do a Hollywood movie and they will in it put a storyline which very much mimics something that is about to occur. So that's how they are avoiding spiritual equity and karma, because they're giving humanity notice. They're giving them notice that that is going to occur. Yeah? So immediately they're getting away with the burden and the karma of that. Now, there is very interesting ways that we can sort that out. And, you know, there's many of us on the planet now that, you know the spiritual laws and try and deliver them to the planet. And we know how to revoke the spiritual equity that has been placed on humanity for a deed that is going to be done against them, if you get what I'm saying. So can you imagine how many people in the world have been abused and traumatized and have consented to it without them even knowing? Think about that for a moment. Just think about that for a moment. How many people in this world have been abused of any description and traumatized, and in effect they have consented to it without realizing it? It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But this is what happens. That's why so many people that have been abused in the world carry shame and blame and the burden of the karma of their abuser. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? That they carry the burden of the karma of the person who abused them. I'm not joking. This is real. This. I've been dealing with this for 12 years in my work. So no wonder they cannot bring themselves out of that energy, because they're sitting with a huge karmic load on their shoulders and back. There are even people, I had one yesterday, and I've met many over my years doing this work. There is two big examples for me that have really, stuck in my mind, and I've dealt with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. One was a girl that I met at the Healing Weekend in Somerset in 2014, who was in a terrible state, had an eating disorder, looked terrible, and her mum had just given up. She didn't know what to do with her, and oh my God, she brought her to me. I was in the healing tent, and immediately I just saw her eyes, and I knew that she was carrying a karmic load linked to Auschwitz. So when I looked in and went in on a soul level to look, she had been given the burden and the karma of the guards that gassed her there, because she died in Auschwitz in her last lifetime, and she was starved to death there, wasn't they? They never had any food, and she was almost like reliving the whole thing again. Yeah. Now, immediately, what do we do? Well, we rescind it back. Rescindment of spiritual equity, rescindment of karma, which is not yours to carry. And, we managed to get it off her shoulders and get it off her soul by rescinding it back on her behalf, which we did. And then got her out of that karmic looping that she was in. And this has happened to so many people on the planet, and starseeds especially. Starseeds and light workers are really targeted big time with this energy and this problem. Myself, I carried the karma of my abusers. They put it onto me because I inherited a contract which agreed to that abuse via my ancestral contract. So that was, can you imagine what happens when you rescind back? What we mean by that is there's a statement that we say under spiritual law, which actually then takes it off you and sends it back to the creators of it. You're not the creator of that karma and equity. They are. They need to deal with it. It's their karma. They need to learn to deal with it. So that is a big problem for humanity right now. A big problem. And not enough people teach about that. They don't teach enough about what's going on when you become a victim or a survivor of something where you have, you know, received karma and spiritual equity of someone else. And you can always rescind any type of attack or anything where you feel, you know, something's being sent towards you. It's a very clever and powerful tool, and it's part of the sovereign decree, divine sovereign decree process, and it's very much upholding high spiritual law. So, you know, it's something that not to be afraid of. It's something that you need to learn about, so that then you can use that as a tool for you and your energy management and your power. So I just wanted to talk about that, because this is very much linked to the healing system that we now have. So the Quantum Bridge Timeline Star Healing system actually goes into the timelines of those that have been abused, and it takes them out of it. It heals the timeline, shuts down the karmic load. So wherever someone has been looped up in a timeline and they can't get out of it, it will take them out of that timeline and send back the spiritual equity immediately, and all the other tools that go on with it. So someone who's carrying a huge load, like that young lady that I met all those years ago, it would resolve that immediately for her. And actually it would take her through reconfiguration and recalibration of her sacred geometry, which is her energy body. And did you know that your energy body is sacred geometry? So your sacred geometry has been sort of distorted, shall we say distorted, with any type of abuse, interference, psychic attacks, astral entities, abduction, anything like that. Your geometry has been altered and distorted, and what happens is they try and replay it in other dimensions, and that is to almost keep you stuck. I'm not doom and glooming, girls, you know, boys. I'm on the front line of this. I deal with this all the time, and we have now got tools to clear this. So the healing system that I'm training others to use now does all of this, and it rescinds the spiritual equity. It takes you out of distortions in timelines, and it actually gives you your sacred divine spiritual blueprint back. Now, I just checked in with 10 girls that have received this in the training, and they're all having amazing results. So some are feeling so much more clarity. They can actually channel more effectively. They are really feeling like a download of their mission in a much more powerful way. Someone really badly affected by programming and satanic ritual abuse in a huge way is saying that her mental health problems and the programming she received are just like drifting away, and she can feel herself coming back. She's got that peace. She feels for the first time in like 50 odd years that she's got a future. I mean, I could cry, I really could. I've been through it. I took this system and used it first. I was the first one to use it on myself, and it corrected a lot of the things that I couldn't seem to correct, that I tried all the other layers, and you know, I feel really sharp, really on point. I feel like I can see you know, where I'm going now and what I'm going to do. I feel peace, love. You know, it's done a lot for me, and to see the other girls as well saying that they are receiving similar things is great. It's a process that takes a while, right? So once it goes in, it works immediately, but it can take up to 6 months for you to see the full effects of what this system does. And your higher self takes over. Your I am presence, once they've had the correction and the blueprint put back in, then your I am presence takes over and spins out whatever needs to spin out in divine timing. Because you don't want it all done at once. You'd feel weird and it wouldn't be very good for you. You need it doing gradually over a few months. You just get better and better and better. And yeah, so anybody who's really been targeted, had a lot of abuse, or knows people that have been abused, or works with people that have are really like feel that they're carrying a lot of burden, they can't operate, or they're in suffering and pain, and emotional trauma and pain. It's an amazing system, and you get the tools on it. The training, Stacey, is £444. That's for level 1, and level 1 will do the trick. Level 1 has enough tools on there to be able to correct someone's geometry and to really start clearing up a lot of timeline stuff that's going on with them. We teach you how to do it. Also, you don't need to use it on others if you don't want. If you just want to use it for yourself and you want it as a tool so you can go and use it constantly when something comes up, you can. And I can see this going and adapting into children's stuff eventually. I can feel that, God willing, that source will help us get this to children that have been abused, because this can be adapted to children, so that they can get corrected very quickly. We also have another level that's coming in now, which is for divine feminine quantum healing. So it's lifting out all of the wound damage, all of the things that might have been a woman might have gone through, where she needs it sorting. So we're doing a quantum healing divine feminine level if anybody wants to do it. And then we've got an inner child fragmented level as well. So there's 3 levels at the moment. And we do have a burgeoning animal level, actually, because we've got one amazing animal communicator and healer who's done this work on the quantum bridge and trained in level 1, and already her healing ability on a quantum level for animals is just magnified, and she's getting a whole download of tools for animals, so we can do this for animals as well. So there's so many different adaptions you can use this system for. It's amazing, and it's gifted from Sanat Kumara, the Cosmic Divine Mother, and the Councils of Light, and it's overlit by the Emerald Order. And the Emerald Order is a very beautiful order of masters, cosmic masters, that were almost like the founder creators of the earth, and very much the blueprint from the Emerald Order has been hijacked, and lots of things have happened over the eons, which has meant that a lot of Emerald Order founders and members were hunted down and hijacked on one level or another, including me. And the time for that now is over. We are back with a vengeance. Not with a vengeance, but you know what I mean. We're back and powering up rapidly to correct a lot of this stuff, So, yeah, I will do, Kim. Kim does the admin for Divine Sovereign Decree. There is also a process for those most affected that are really struggling on a day-to-day basis, called the Divine Sovereign Decree. It's a document, it's a spiritual document. It takes you out of the realm of the jurisdiction of 3D and Earth and the Earth Matrix. For those of you that understand about sovereignty, soul sovereignty. We have, when we come in, unfortunately, we're contracted in with the birth certificate, and we're also contracted in with lots of other things that we have no control over as a child. And the divine sovereign decree takes you out of those contracts on all levels, and on a dimensional scale, soul scale, it sends a shockwave through the omniverse, really, saying, I'm declaring sovereignty. And don't be fooled that, there's a lot of stuff being said about sovereignty, like, oh, I'm a soul sovereign, I just have to declare it. Bullshit. It doesn't work that way. You can say I am a sovereign, say it 3 times. It's you need to do more than that. You need to do more than that to actually get yourself out of the contracts. And also those that have really been targeted, and those of us that have been born into heavy ancestral contracted families, it's not that easy. I mean, as I've said, people have heard me say before, I inherited some shitty soul contracts. I really did. It's windy. Curtains coming up. I really inherited some shitty soul contracts. And, that sovereign decree got me out of it. And I needed to declare sovereignty, because that goes down your monad, goes down your 144. And sovereignty is very important. And I had an example the other day on the bridge where I had someone, and we were clearing something really big, like it was three timelines interlinked together, that they were trapped in, that really is pulling them down. And we went to do it, and there was a bit of resistance, and there would have been. And Sanat Kumara reminded me to take a copy of the divine sovereign decree out of that person's heart space, because it's held in your geometry and in your energy field, and we threw it into the portal. And what that did is, it's almost like you were reaffirming to whoever was breaking spiritual law doing that, like, I'm sovereign, and you're just getting your equity right now. Because after you've got your sovereign field, anything that happens to you after that, where someone is trying to trick you or hurt you in any way, right, they get instant karma. Instant. Because you're a sovereign field. So your sovereign field, rejects, back, whatever is done to try and hurt or maim you, because you're a sovereign being. And it's very important for those people that have been through excessive interference and abuse that they declare their sovereignty, because then you're shutting the back door and you're shoring up your energy field so that you can then clear it up and mop it up, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's like anything. If something's been tainted and ruined, like a carpet, you've spilt red wine all over a carpet, right, just for example, and you want to clean the carpet up, you don't let the bottle of red wine keep falling on the carpet. You don't allow the wine bottle on the side on the table to keep dropping it down, yeah, as you're trying to clear it up, because you'll never mop it up. You'll never finish the job. So you take the presence of danger out of the way first, and then you mop it up. So you sovereignize your field before you mop up, yeah? So then nothing can enter it again, so then you can deal with it, yeah? Hope I'm making sense. So there you go. I'm not going to make it much longer, but if you're interested in that system, three ways you can work with me. You can either come and train in Quantum Bridge Timeline Star Healing, level 1, Principles of the Quantum Bridge, and we do it beginning of July, and we're doing it in September, and it's £444, and I do have payment plans for that as well. Or I have a program launching in July, with this process included, plus lots of support for any of those people that have been through interference and have been through, you know, yucky things as a starseed and light worker. I have that program running beginning of mid-July, and it's more of a group program, so it's not training in the system, but you'll receive the system and you will experience it as I take you on the quantum bridge and start assisting you to clean up your energy field and so I've got that, and that's probably called Learning to Shine Again. So that's coming. I haven't officially properly launched that yet, but it's there. And thirdly, you can always come and have a healing and guidance session with me, which I offer, which are about 75 minutes. They're £144. And in that, if I feel that you need that, I can put that process in while I'm working with you. And I can also tell you what I feel you need to do first, and what needs to be sorted and dealt with. So there you go. I've got different ways. And I'm just wondering whether I need to... I've got a group as well. I've got a Facebook group, and I've got a mailing list as well if you want to go on that. As we start to expand this now, this service, and try and roll it out to as many healers as we can. And this is a real deal. This does what it says it does, and it's here. This system is here to liberate light workers and starseeds. That's what we're here to do, is to liberate you. And Sanat Kumara very much, who is the Lord Regent of the world, came as part of the Kamars, the 7 Kamars, Lords of the Flame. Venus, came from Venus, to bring the flame of divine love and of source back to the planet. And he did vow, he came with 144,000, he did vow he would not leave as Lord Regent of the earth without his 144,000. So it's almost like it's a deliverance and a promise from Sanat Kumara that I am not leaving without you. I am not leaving my starseeds and my flame holders stuck and wrapped up in this stuff that has been doled out to us over the eons. I'm here to help you liberate yourself so you can use the ascension cycle as it should be used. So that is a very strong message that he keeps giving me, Sanat Kumara, about that. And very much he's very involved in the work on the quantum bridge, as well as the star councils actually. So we have the Arcturians on there, we have the Syrians, Pleiadians, Lyrians. So we've got a whole team of star tribes and star nations as part of this work. So it's very important. So there you go. So yeah, that I just wanted to talk to you about spiritual equity. So important. That's why victims and survivors of abuse struggle so much, because quite often they are rolled the equity, the spiritual equity, the karma of the abuse is rolled onto them, and that's not fair. It's not their fault. It's not their karma. It needs to go back to the being and the entity and the soul who did it in the first place, right? And the only way they get away with it is by not incurring the karma. As soon as they get the karma and the spiritual equity in great big amounts, they are overwhelmed by it, and then they have to stop. So that's why we need to stop them. We need to rescind back the spiritual equity. So as I say, I use it a lot with all my clients. We train you to do it on the quantum bridge. It works magnificently. The differences I've seen when people start rescinding and really, as I say, sending back, which is not theirs to carry, the difference is amazing. So it's very important. And watch what you consent to. Watch your language. Look at how maybe someone could be noticing you, that they're going to do something. Yeah? It's happened to me time and time again. And also, we do have souls, as I say, that have been given these huge karmic loads, and that is not on. I met someone yesterday who I did a reading for a divine feminine reading for someone yesterday, who actually had a karmic load put on them in regards to an exodus from a land. They were leaving a genocide, like Rwanda, places like that, where there's a lot of death going on and people coming in and trying to take over the land, and they want it for their own, and they're driving them out. And this particular person in another lifetime was trying to draw her people away to safety, to somewhere safe. And in a plot twist, it ends up that they managed to lord the spiritual equity for the genocide of those people onto her. And can you imagine how much weight she's carrying and how she can't operate because of what's sitting over her, And we've got to clean this up. We've got to sort this out. So there you go. So I hope that makes sense to you. Karma is real. Spiritual equity, which is karma, is real, and there is no harm in sending back spiritual equity to the creators of it. There was one particular spiritual teacher out here on the field right now who made a video saying that spiritual equity was dangerous and you weren't to send it back. It was the most stupid thing I've ever seen in all my life. Like, do you understand what spiritual equity is, mate? And to say that spiritual equity can harm you if you send it back, how can it harm you when you're sending it back to the people that created it in the first place? Yeah? That's spiritual law. Yeah? That's spiritual law. You send back things that belong to other people, not to you. We don't carry what other people should carry. It's the same as emotions and baggage. Why should we carry other people's baggage, emotional baggage? That's another one, yeah? That's another lesson we have to learn. We don't carry other people's emotional baggage, and we don't take it on. Yeah? It's theirs to carry, not yours. Yeah? They have to deal with it. They may have to sometimes offload, and that's where quite often as healers and empaths, we're trying to take it on and heal and transmute it. But it has to be theirs. They have to accept responsibility for it. And that's, again, the dark controllers and the black magicians not taking responsibility for their acts against us or humanity. And therefore trying to place that burden and karma onto the people. Yeah? And it won't be tolerated now. It will not be tolerated. The Emerald Order is back and anchored on this earth, and it won't be tolerated. So, that's why you get a lot of people that are burdened down with stuff, because they're carrying a lot of other people's stuff. So I thought, that might be good for you to understand, so that, we can work on it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't know who sent it, right? Because what you do is you send it back to the creator of it. Whatever that may mean. It may be delivered through a particular person, right? But it might not actually be, there's people behind them that are controlling it. So you end up, what you do is you send the spiritual equity to the creator, and you send it through the person who delivered it back the other side, right? And it goes through them. So whatever they have to do with it, whatever little part they played in it, they will get their share of the equity for that. All right? Might just be a tiny bit. And then it will go back behind them to whoever created it in the first place. What being, what entity created it? Whether it be a soul or another alien life form, whatever it is, it will go back to them. So you never ever can send spiritual equity to the wrong person. It doesn't work that way. So it can only ever go back to the creator of it. Yeah? Therefore, you're not doing anything wrong. what you're doing is protecting your energy field, and you're mastering your energy field as an ascending master. That's who you are. Yeah, remember that. We are not Joe Bloggs off the street. Yeah, we are ascending masters. We have to learn spiritual law and how to use it. Yeah, and not enough. There's a lot of false light teachings out there that don't teach this stuff, and you know, there's reasons for that. So you know, if you feel someone's double crossed you, or you feel you've been misled or manipulated, or something's happened to you, you rescind back. Now, there's a very good superconscious rescinding statement on Lisa Renee's website, and she is very good at sort of scribing for the Christos mission and what's going on with the Emerald Order and all that. I've just put her name on now. She has a superconscious rescinding statement, which is really powerful. I used to write them a lot before I found hers. I did write my own, and I have versions of hers that I've changed with my own wording, which go into certain different areas. Like there's one for abuse, there's one for animals. I tend to change them and chop and change them slightly, and I make the detail more fine. So I'm going in on a certain level of rescindment for a certain thing, and I found that very useful over the years now to do that. And the superconscious rescinding statements come in the training at the same time, and the variations of them as well, which, as I say, are very powerful tools to use when you're with clients and you're you're working on karmic patterns, past lives, things that have happened this lifetime, all that sort of stuff. The rescindment is really powerful, actually. So there you go. Yeah, it gets done as part of the quantum training. Yeah, it does this. Yeah, yeah. And you get all the detail. You know, there's a manual, and in there are lots of tools and things that I show you on the bridge, but I give you the wording as well to use, so that you can go and use it in your future work with people. You can give them the superconscious rescinding statement to say on the bridge, and that always lightens the load when you're trying to clear someone. Just think, if they're carrying a lot of burden and spiritual equity, it gets very heavy when you try and start clearing it. So the superconscious rescinding statement is sending like a message and a spiritual law arrow really outwards to whoever got them in it in the first place, and saying, no, you take that back and release them. And it's very powerful, very powerful. I've seen it in action for so many years now, and as I say, I use it as one of my own tools as well, and it's very effective, very effective. So there you go. So my next training dates are the 1st and 2nd of July, online. We train wherever it is in the world, and so that's that one. And I've got one beginning of September as well. I think it's 1st and 2nd of September, or 2nd and 3rd. They are 2 weekends, a Saturday and a Sunday. I do midweek ones as well on request. If people want to do training midweek, I can do it midweek as well. And I'll be training for the rest of the year, and training for quite a few years actually, and building up this sort of army of healers really, to go and tackle these sorts of problems that need. And I'm sure some of you that are healers have seen this. What I must say about this system is, this is not angelic Reiki. This isn't anything like that, right? So we're using new earth frequencies. This is new earth geometry, and this is getting you out of your old earth geometry into your new earth geometry. So anything in your energy field which is not compatible with new earth frequencies and the new earth timeline, 7D Gaia, and also weeding out any silent contracts or anything that you're running that you don't know you're running, that you've picked up along the way in how many incarnations we've had, including all of the other parallel lives. So we're talking, you know, multidimensional, and we're talking parallel lives. All of it gets cleared at the same time, because you have to, because of course you've taken responsibility to ascend. You are the lead of your monad, your 144. So therefore, you are taking charge of the cleanup of the rest. Yeah. So what you do then goes down your monad and reverberates. So if you claim sovereignty, your monad gets sovereignty. Your 144 then are able to take sovereignty. Yeah. So it's really important. Really important. Okay, I've got to go. So lots of love to you all. And I'm available for single sessions as well if anybody just wants to come and get me to look at them and look at the energy field and see what we can do and I can do that. And I do divine feminine readings that actually look at these karmic cycles and look at your distortions in your field and what needs to be resolved and lifted. Okay, so have a great day. It's boiling here. I'm right by the ocean. I'll show you. Look at that. There's the sea. Yeah, can you see it? There's the sea. The bay goes right the way round. There you go. So, but it's boiling. It's too hot, really. We're never happy, are we? We're never happy. Lots of love. Take care. Love you all. Keep shining.